no idea what I was talking about, because it took a number of years and a period and 3 more letters at the end of every email address to make it actually work for the consumer. It took the internet, the biggest leap forward of them all. Speaking of leap forwards, let's leap forward to where we are today. And we have some astounding examples of education technology available. You'll see many of them in the halls out there. And actually you can see many of them in use, in very active and productive use in our schools in this country today. Such as at Bolton College, where their chatbot called Ada, named of course after the great Ada Lovelace, is enabling personalised learning for 14,000 students, but also being able to deal with so many routine and quite a lot of not so routine questions to relieve the burden of administration on staff. Or High Furlong School in Blackpool, where they're using technology in very innovative ways to support their students with special educational needs and disabilities to get the very most out of their education. Or Sandringham High School, where they're using technology to create a generation of discerning consumers of information, being critical users of technology and searching out bias online. So there are many encouraging and very positive things happening in education technology. But EdTech also faces some particular challenges, I think, unique to the education sector. One of them is that EdTech sometimes gets a bit of a bad name because this is one of the few sectors where technology has been associated for some people not with a decrease in their work, but an increase. And one example of that is email. Now, email is great when it replaces other types of communication to make things more productive. But in education, what you often hear from teachers is that it hasn't replaced anything, it's just added to it. And to deal with this, we need schools and leaders to think in innovative ways, and then we also need the EdTech companies also to come up with more solutions. Now, of course, one of the very best things about technology, and one way in which it has changed remarkably since the 1980s, is its ability to crunch large amounts of data and often, though sadly not always, turn that into informative analysis and charts and outputs. But of course, the data has to come from somewhere, and this is another way in which EdTech, technology and IT can get a bit of a bad name in the world of education. Because the sheer volume of data that is required or is asked for to be inputted into these systems can create an additional burden on teachers. Then there's the market itself, and there's probably no better example of an efficient market working well than here in the Excel Centre in January 2019, bringing together buyers, sellers, the interested, the curious, to come together to taste and see what is on offer. But away from Bett, there can be some difficulties with how the market works for EdTech products. If you are a teacher, you're a school, you're a school leader or a head, actually it can be very difficult to know from this vast range of what is on the market really what is good. From the point of view of a seller, particularly if you have a devolved system as we do in this country, and we are very proud of our devolved system in education and think it is a great strength, but that can also make it hard for a seller to reach the buyer and to be able cost effectively to do their marketing and their product exposition. There can be a very understandable nervousness on behalf of schools dealing sometimes with brands and names that they are not familiar with and wondering if they can be certain that these will be around in a number of years' time. And then there's the issue about making a commitment. Once you've signed up for a particular piece of software, a particular program, it can feel like you're locked in. And that can both make people stick with things perhaps longer than they would have done otherwise, but also make them more reluctant to take them on in the first place. And that can mean some wastage, which is a serious issue.
a serious issue because EdTech is now big business here in England. EdTech, or technology in general in schools, now has a spend of some £450 million a year, so we need to make sure that money is being spent effectively. So from this spring, we are going to be shaping our EdTech strategy for England, and it has a number of different elements to it. One of them is our friends at BISA are running a number of roadshows around the country which have already started bringing the tech to teachers, to enable more schools to see what is on offer, to see what is possible. They are free, they're happening right throughout the country, and I'd encourage you, if you haven't already, to sign up to attend one. We also want schools to be able to see good tech in action, and that's why we're going to be rolling out a network of demonstrator schools and colleges where educators can get the sort of peer-to-peer support and the training that they tell us is important to them, and raise their confidence level and skill in using some of these key products. We need to have a trusted single place, an education destination, if you like, where people know where to go for education products and services. And by the way, this isn't just for teachers, but also thinking about parents and direct consumers of education services as well. And finally, because of those challenges that I mentioned with the way that markets work, we need to have an informed marketplace where people can buy with confidence, and that also makes it more effective, more efficient for sellers to market their wares. And an important part of that is this product, which is being trialled by BISA, launches today. It's called Lend Ed. So it's an opportunity with tech products to try before you buy. It also allows teachers to write reviews, and you can see case studies and get hints and tips and advice on how to get the most out of these products. And if you do then go on to buy the product, you have the reassurance of knowing that the companies involved have been vetted. So I want to make sure that in our education system we are able to make the fullest use of the complete range of opportunities available through EdTech. But I also want to make sure that we are able to be specific in what problems we are trying to solve. Now, we have set aside a £10 million innovation fund in order to help to drive this forward. And part of that is going to be about addressing some very specific challenges. These are real-world issues that exist today that we can look for new solutions to. And they cover everything from administration, assessment, learning at all stages, teaching practice itself, and then the professional development of teachers. Now, I can have a lot more than 10 things up here. I mean, just if you look at special educational needs, could be expanded into a number of different items. And in different countries, there may be a different list. So, for example, there'll be places where accessing remote or particularly sparse rural communities is a very important thing to develop. But I thought 10 was quite a lot already, and we wanted to have focus. So these are the 10 we are going to be focusing on. And each one of those, though, are just a pithy little phrase. Each one of them has a very specific challenge attached to it, and in most cases a measurable, definable metric as well. For now, let me just talk about 3 of them. First of all, on lesson prep, I want to see what technology companies can come forward with to help to cut the time that teachers spend on preparing and marking homework and in-class assessments. Obviously, this is absolutely vital work. It is at the core of what we do in school. It's at the core of what teachers are about, but it takes too long. And so I want to see what we can do through technology to cut the time doing that by 2 hours a week or more. Secondly, the engagement of parents. And obviously, parents are crucial to children's education. Again, I think there is an opportunity here to cut the amount of time that this takes while enhancing the quality of interaction with parents. And as an example, We already have some schools in the northeast of this country where they've introduced an online learning journey which enriches the amount of information available to parents, their involvement in their child's education and the progress they're making, but without adding more pressure onto teachers. And finally, for now, beat the cheats. So we know that the growth of essay mills, the subcontracting of work, if you like, and the older problem of plagiarism, these things, of course, undermine the great work that students do at university, and also over time actually undermines or erodes the validity, the value of qualifications themselves. And software exists and is widely used to try and identify plagiarism and abuse, but it seems also that the problem persists, and in some ways, in some cases, seems to be getting worse. So for us to keep up with this, we need to make sure that we are not just up with the cheats, but one step ahead of the cheats and get smarter in the way we do it. And for all of these 3 and the other 7 on the list, there are 3 further tests which I think need to be woven through them. The first is that things have to be cost effective. Ideally, actually, to reduce the cost that schools are expending on these things, to free up more resource for teaching and learning and all the other important things that schools do. I also want it not only to involve a manageable amount of teacher workload, but to cut the amount of teacher workload that is being expended. And finally, and most importantly of all, of course, it's all about outcomes. It's all about enhancing learning so that more children can do better learning and fulfill their full potential. Now, I think you're all showing remarkable self-restraint, by the way, by sitting here listening to people doing PowerPoint presentations. I apologise for that. But there are some fantastic presentations coming up after mine, which I hope you will enjoy. And I know then you're going to want to get out into the Aladdin's cave out there to see the full breadth of all that is on offer. I do believe we are truly on the cusp of amazing things in education technology. And there are some truly amazing products and services. And I say amazing in the truest sense, that when you see them, you are actually taken aback by what is possible. But in some ways, I still feel we're still in 1987, that we have a lot of these brilliant innovations, but we need to make more connections. We need to create conveyance to bring these things to their fullest potential throughout our system. And Bett, and the opportunity you have today to be with colleagues and innovators in the system around the world is an unrivaled opportunity to do that. We must never think about technology for its own sake. Technology is an enabler and an enhancer. And ladies and gentlemen, you in this room are a big part of that, because we need a partnership approach between educators and innovators, between the technology companies, and the government has a role as well, to make sure that we work together to forge those brilliant tools for a brighter future for all our children. Thank you.